Does anyone know Robin Williams? He's my favorite actor. He played in the movie Dead Poets Society. And he said he was a poetry teacher. He loved anyone love poetry in this room? We got one back there. He says to his classmates, he says, everyone, huddle up, huddle up. We don't read and we write poetry because it's something that's cute. No, no, no. We read and write poetry because we're members of the human race. And the human race is filled with passion. Law, business, medicine, engineering, these are all noble pursuits and necessary to sustain life. But poetry, beauty, romance, love, this is what we stay alive for. I know you feel it, because I feel it. And we can't erase it, no matter how much we hate sometimes this passion, this deep longing for love and union and intimacy. It can't be erased, because the Catholic Church says that longing and passion that you feel in your bones, in your soul, and yes, in your body, is at the core of what it means to be human. I don't know if you knew that. The Catholic Church says that is at the heart of being religious, of what holiness actually is. Okay, I'm going to unravel this, so you might be like, what the heck is he talking about? I'm going to tell you about my journey of longing. Because what St. Augustine says, he says, our journey to heaven is one of deep longing. The church says prayer is becoming a longing for God. So I'm going to tell you about my journey of longing. It all began in second grade when I was sitting next to Maggie in class. And she was sitting right here, and I'm in second grade, and I look at her, and oh my gosh, I am on fire. Boom, boom. Who knows if I'm sweating? What's going on right now? Yeah, I don't know. But I'm crisscross applesauce. Maggie's right there, and my best friend Braden's on the other side, and Braden likes her too. And so Maggie's sitting back, relaxing, crisscross applesauce, and I look at her hand, and her hand is just beautiful. And I'm like, I'm going to hold her hand right now. So what do? I grab her hand, and she starts to smile. She likes it. And then my best friend Braden does the exact same, and we are both holding her hand in second grade. We fast forward 2 hours later. We are now at library class, right? And so I'm, reading my books. And I'm probably not reading my books. Who knows what I'm doing? But Braden walks up to me and says, Brendan, I just kissed her. I was like, no, you did not. It's like, what, you kissed her? Like, did you kiss her on the mouth? Like, did you kiss her on the cheek, the forehead? Like, no. He's like, I kissed her right here on the back, right on the left shoulder. It's like, you are very weird. Like, okay, great, good job, Braden. Okay, a couple moments later, he comes back, Brendan, yeah, I kissed her on the cheek. I was like, no, you did not. You have to prove that to me. Prove it. So I'm not kidding you. If I'm the librarian, there's the class, and there's Maggie in the middle, crisscross applesauce. I'm on one side, Braden's on the other. Braden does that cheek, and I do the other cheek. The whole entire class. And then we go and we check out our books, and yes, the librarian knew we had fun. She actually told us that. I saw the whole entire thing. Now here's the question. Do I know what was happening in that moment in second grade with all that innocence? No. But do I know one thing absolutely? Something unbelievably awoke in my heart, and who knows what? Who knows what? But I'm in second grade, all right? So now we fast forward middle school, high school, puberty goes crazy, and all my friends are saying, are you gonna sleep around, Brendan? Because we're gonna sleep around. And I was like, no, I'm not supposed to. Oh, why not? Because the Catholic Church says so. So I don't know about you, but I remember watching a movie. And I'm with my parents and my brother, and a scene comes on the film. And what does mom and dad say? Cover your eyes now. So I'm covering my eyes, but I am wanting to look. And no, cover your eyes, cover your eyes. And what whispered into my heart was sinful, bad, dirty, unholy. And so, in high school, what I was thinking was, this is what it means to be a great Catholic. Don't have sex, don't cuss, don't party, and wait. And you are a phenomenal Catholic. But everything in my bones was wanting to do that. My friends were. I was wanting to. And it wasn't until my senior year, I was dating this girl, and I told her, I'm going to be a virgin. I'm going to save myself till marriage. And she respected that. But I'll tell you this, I was dipping my toes in the water. I may not have dove into the deep end. It's definitely dipping my toes in the water. And I remember after hanging out with her one day, we were sitting down, and I looked at her in the eyes, and I couldn't really because of the shame. And I said, you know what? I'm using you. I'm using you for my own selfish pleasure. And she just started to cry, and I started to cry, because we know in our hearts we're not meant to be toyed with, to be treated like a thing or an object that can be thrown away. And that's what we are doing for one another. What's using a person? It's treating another person as an object for your own selfish gratification. What is love? It's to see the person as a subject, willing their good, becoming a gift for them. In other words, using is this. That's your body, and I want to take it from myself. What is love? This is my body given up for you. Those words sound familiar, don't they? So we ended up breaking up because I didn't know how to love at all. She had no idea how to love. And I'm battling in my heart, Lord, what is your plan? Because I go to college in my fraternity, and everyone is just indulging in who knows what. And I'm like doing my best, like, no, you can't do it. Just kind of white knuckling my way through. And it wasn't until the summer of 2017, I got an internship with the Theology of the Body Institute with Christopher West. And I was like, okay, Lord, here I am, like, what do you want? What do you want from me? I'm here. I'm going to be attentive. And I'm sitting in the very back, and Christopher West starts singing. He starts singing. He's singing his songs. He's like, turn on the radio. And I'm thinking of a song right now. It's Shallow. Have you guys ever seen the movie A Star is Born or heard the song Shallow? Tell me something, girl. Are you happy in this modern world? Or do you need more? Is there something else you're searching for? And what does she say to the guy? Tell me something, boy. Aren't you tired trying to fill that void? Or do you need more? Is there something else you're searching for? With my girlfriend, with my fraternity and partying, I'd have to go out, and it would not satisfy. Not satisfy. Yes, I need more, I need more. But it doesn't. And then what happens? You get mad at it and even resentful, thinking it's bad and a curse. I remember doing RCIA class, and I talked about desire and passion, and this guy's like, what the heck? I thought it was like, avoid desire and passion at all times. It only gets you in trouble. And Christopher West is singing this song, and he says, what does C.S. Lewis say? C.S. Lewis says this: the human heart doesn't want to just see something that's beautiful, like a sunset. When you look at a sunset, C.S. Lewis says, you don't want to just see it. You want something more. You want to unite with it. You want to take beauty into yourself. You want to eat it and become it and radiate it. And it's like, he's saying this, and I'm like, yes. And he's like, let's dream. Let's just dream. What if capital B beauty, ultimate beauty that created all small b beauty things? What if ultimate beauty somehow came down, somehow became food, and somehow we could eat infinite, eternal beauty? And he looked over at the tabernacle, and he says, do you know what's inside there? And my mouth dropped, and the tears started rolling, because for the first time in my life, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm not crazy to feel that thing, whatever that thing is inside, for a fulfillment. I'm not crazy. I cried for 3 months straight because I was feeling it. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is real. The Word was made flesh. Infinite beauty became flesh and said, take and eat. What's the whole message of Christianity, the whole meaning of the whole entire universe? Is that eternal love wants to unite with you so that you one day will be perfectly beautiful. And if you look at your heart, do you want that? It's like, yeah. Like, why do you think people get breast implants? Why do you think people carve up their faces? I want to be perfectly beautiful. I want to be perfectly beautiful. Guess what? That's a great desire. God wants to offer that for you. It's going to have to go through the cross, and that's a whole nother story. But the Word was made flesh. Theology entered the body. Theology of the body is the very mystery of Christmas. It's not a teaching simply that the Pope gave. It is Christianity 101. Theology enters the body. The body reveals the mystery of who God is. And it places a new dignity on who you are. And where did he take flesh? In the very womb of woman. I remember when Christopher West told me that. It just like blew my mind that every woman right now in this room, if Christianity is real, I'd say it's real. Every woman in this room is an icon of the dwelling place of the Most High God. Do you know what happened to David, David's servant, when he touched the dwelling place of God, the Ark of the Covenant, in an irreverent way? He fell over dead. He fell over dead. And your body, literally from all eternity, was made to be the dwelling place of the Most High God. That's the theology of femininity. And that reveals more about the truth of what it means to be a woman than a biology class. Biology is great. It's phenomenal. Thank God for biology. But if you look at the body in a way that it's simply a reductionist mentality, you won't be able to see the glory revealed in the body. Okay, then what's the whole purpose of man and woman in marriage and sexual desire? What's the whole purpose of that? We have to go back to the beginning of Genesis. The beginning. You guys know the Genesis story? I like to think of it as a grand finale. God launches off the first firework. Behold, it is very good, right? It's good. A better translation in Hebrew, is written in Hebrew, is Tov, T-O-V. Behold, it is beautiful to see. It's appealing to the eye. Behold, it is beautiful. Behold, it is beautiful. And the grand finale, the crown, the most beautiful of all creation is you. That's the objective truth. Now the question is, do you believe that? Particularly women, the question is, do you believe you are beautiful? Because that's the truth of who you are. And no matter what happens to you, sure, every man is called to reveal that through the way in which he sees you, touches you. That's meant to reveal that you're the crown. But people hurt. And it makes us doubt our deepest identity. That I'm good, that I'm wanted, that I'm enough. But that's the truth, okay? That's the biblical truth of who you are. Male and female, he created him in his image and likeness. Who is God? God is an eternal exchange of life-giving love. That is who he is. He's not some boring judge that's just not cool. No, he's the coolest guy ever. I mean, I've met him a couple times. He's cool. He's the best. A communion of persons. God the Father is eternally giving himself to God the Son. God the Son from all eternity is receiving that love and giving himself back. And through their giving and receiving of persons spirates the Holy Spirit, a third person. God is a communion of life-giving love. Why in the world, O Lord, did you create me this way? Seen in light of one another, male and female, I am called to become a gift to enter into holy communion. Through the giving and receiving of masculinity and femininity, God willing, in the context of holy matrimony and sexual union, 9 months later, a third person. Now, when I learned that, I was like, are you freaking kidding me right now? Is he just telling me right now, John Paul II, the Pope, is this guy telling me that the sexual embrace of man and woman in truth and in love is the greatest window of who God is? Yes. God is not sexual. We can't sexualize God. He's pure spirit. But our very sexuality is an image of God. Okay, if that's the truth, what's the evil one going to want to do? He's going to pornify it. He's going to prostitute it. He's going to twist it up and make it look disgusting, gross, and ugly so that we'll run away from it. And when we're running away from it, we're running away from the very window that leads us into the mystery of who God is, holiness itself. It's like, that's what I was doing in high school. I was going the wrong way. I was running in the opposite direction, and all my friends, I wasn't planning on doing this, but I'm going to do it. This is what Christopher West does. You've probably seen this. This is the most beautiful image of all creation. Male and female, naked without shame, he created them. He blessed them. This is the greatest icon of who God is. There's not the Trinity, but imagine this is the Trinity right here, all right? I'm running in this direction. I'm going away from God, right? All my friends, so Satan twists it up, and all my friends are indulging. And then what was I doing in college? I was indulging. And you idolize it. You make it a god, thinking that it can totally satisfy you. But it can't. I've tried it. Maybe you've tried it. You can't. And so oftentimes we go back and forth. And what John Paul II did is he took this out of the trash and he says, this is not what you're looking for. What you're really looking for is the redemption of the body, the transformation of the body. That's what you're looking for. That's what you're looking for. And I was seeing it, okay? I'm telling you, sometimes I'm blind and I cannot see and I got to get on my knees. Lord, help me to see. I don't know if you've ever done that with Jesus, but I got to do that daily. But he literally gave me a grace and I was seeing. I was crying every day because I was literally, okay, I'll just say it like this. I thought it was impossible for men to not lust after women. I literally thought it was impossible. Just look away. That's the best that you can do. And I promise you, I was seeing women and I was seeing images of God. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And so I had to tell everyone. So if I was on the bus, I wasn't really on the bus. If I was in an Uber, if I was on a train, if I was on a plane, I was sitting next to the person and I was telling them, do you know how good you are? How beautiful you are? That sounds kind of weird. I didn't do that exactly, but I would spike up a conversation. And one day, I was taking an Uber, getting on the train in Pennsylvania back to DC. I get in the Uber, woman's driving. She says, how's it going? Doing great. How are you doing? Doing fine. Where are you going? Going to the train. Got to go back to get my studies. What are you studying? I'm studying a teaching. It's called Theology of the Body. Have you ever heard of it? Theology of the Body? No. What is it? So I asked, do you have a faith at all? You Christian? No faith, not religious at all. So I'm like, how do I talk to her? So I posed a question. What would the world be like if we all looked at one another the way in which we look at a sunset? Because the theology of the body reveals that the human person is the crown, the most beautiful of all creation. What would the world be like? And she was like, oh my gosh. The world would be so different. And I usually share that little story to people. And one day I was sharing it when I was a campus minister at WSU. And a year later, this student came back to me and said, Brendan, that idea, what if we looked at one another like a sunset, changed my life. And I've been telling everyone, I have a story to tell you. Let me hear it. He says, one day I was at a bar with some of my law students and had a couple beers. It was getting late. And one of the girls said to me, hey, Ken, it's late, it's dark out. I don't want to walk alone. Could you walk me home? He says, sure. I'm a gentleman. I'll walk you home. And so he walks her home, gets to the doorstep. Good night. Hey, Ken, you want to come inside to have some tea with me? Tea, late, couple drinks. Sure, tea sounds really nice. So he goes inside to have some tea with her. And he's like, Brendan, in that very moment, I remembered what you said. What if we looked at one another like a sunset? And so I tried to do that with her. And so he said, I was on one side of the table and she was on the other, and I was just looking and trying to see her with this gaze. And she was taken back like, this guy is weird, and said to him, Ken, there's a gaze about you. It's like you're looking into my soul. What is that all about? And he says, what if we look at one another the way in which we look at a sunset? Guess what happened? She began to cry. She began to cry. There's a big difference between looking at someone and seeing someone. That's what JP2 says the problem of pornography is. He says, the problem of pornography is not that it shows too much, it shows far too little. But you're fully naked. I mean, whoa, what? You're not seeing the person who is unique, unrepeatable, and irreplaceable. John Paul II was teaching me, Brennan, when you lust and you stop at this crumpled form, when you look and you stop skin deep, you're not experiencing the fullness of desire. Yeah, the intimacy of persons, the communion of persons. What's happening right now, at least when I was in college, not sure what it's like here at MTSU, but there was the hookup culture, big time. Big time. And how my fraternity brother described the hookup culture, he says this. This was one day when we were all in college, we were sitting around, and he said, you know, what the people do is, hey, so what's your body count? What's your body count? And he says, actually, can I phrase it in a different way? I think this is a little bit more accurate. How many people have you treated like a piece of meat? It's like, what? It's like, yeah, I mean, like, let's look at the reality of it. It's really what's their meat and your meat. That's it. That's really it. It's like, oh my gosh. It's like, that's the reality. No one's getting to know anyone. And this Boston College professor did a whole documentary on this. It's called The Dating Project. Professor Cronin from Boston. She says to all her students, you guys are crazy. Like, no wonder everyone's not really fulfilled and satisfied, and no one's dating, no one's going on traditional dates. The marriage rate, by the way, has gotten dropped in the United States and Canada by 50%. People aren't really getting married. People aren't really dating or knowing how to date. She's like, you guys are just hooking up. And so she says, all right, for my class, I'm going to give you an extra credit. Oh, extra credit. That sounds great. You're going to have to go on a date. But they were too scared. So she's like, all right, in order to pass my class, you got to go on this date. I don't know if that's legal, but she did it. And she said this, all right, here are the rules, all right? When you ask them on a date, you have to be sober. You can't get a little buzz so you can get nice and comfortable and it's easy to talk to them. No, you're sober. You ask them on a date. No alcohol is involved in the whole date, right? You have to say date. You can't, hey, you want to hang out or hide behind a phone or Snapchat. No. You ask them face to face. 90 minutes. I mean, come on, a first date, it's nothing serious, all right? You can go on many first dates with many people. She's like, first date, 90 minutes, no alcohol, and she's like, no physical contact. Well, okay, fine. You can do A-framed hugs. What are A-framed hugs? A-framed, right there. Hips out, arms are okay, all right? That's what she said, A-framed hugs. And so they started to go on these dates, and they were being interviewed. And one man said this, gosh, it's harder to go up to someone in daylight, sober, and ask them out than it is to have sex with them in a dark room where you can't see their face. And then another person said this, the joy, the feeling, the excitement I got when she said yes was better feeling than any hookup I've ever had. Whoa. What is this saying? You want to be known. I want to be known. I want intimacy. Don't we all? It's what we're made for. But we might be afraid, what if people really see the real me? That's where the evil one gets in with his lies. You're not good enough. Who would love you? That's BS. Those are lies. So we have to go on the journey of inner healing if we want to learn true intimacy. If we want to, what's purity of heart? Blessed are the pure of heart, for they shall see God in every person. Purity of heart is a long journey, because I may have just shared with you, wow, this beautiful vision, male and female called to Holy Communion that images the mystery of who God is. Wow. The human person, the human body, what dignity. I don't see it. We have to go on the inner healing journey. So I want to share, to conclude, one of my favorite movies, a scene from it, because it talks about this journey that we all need to go on of inner healing, but it also talks about a man who's calling out another guy, a younger guy, onto the love that he's really made for. The movie is Good Will Hunting. Has anyone seen this movie? So, what do we got in the movie? We got Robin Williams. Robin Williams, he plays Sean. Sean, he's a great counselor, very wise. And then we got Will Hunting. Will Hunting's 20-year-old guy, wicked smart. I mean, this guy's wicked smart. That's what his best friend says. He has a photographic memory, like literally. He grew up in a foster care home. His parents abandoned him, and his foster dad beat him with a wrench. And he is the most careless guy out there. No one phases me. Who cares? He's getting in fights, and he gets in trouble. He's got to go to counseling. This is his punishment. And so he meets with Sean. And because Will, he doesn't really care. He lights up a cigarette in his office and stands up and walks over to one of Sean's paintings. And in the painting, it's this storm with a guy in a rowboat. It's like, you drew that? He's like, I did, yeah. It's like, it's a great painting. He's like, have you ever heard of any port in a storm? It's like, yeah, I have. That's you. Man, you're in a big storm right now. Waves are crashing all over you. Sky's falling over your head. The oars are about to snap. You're just peeing your pants. You're just trying to get out. Maybe you became a psychologist. He's like, yeah, so let me do my work. He's like, or maybe you married the wrong woman. You better stop it right there. Ah, that's it. You married the wrong woman. What, she leave you for another guy? Sean gets up out of the chair, grabs him by the throat, and says, if you ever talk about my wife like that again, I will end you. You got that, Chief? I'll end you. Time's up. Next day comes, and they're sitting on a bench on a fall day overlooking a pond. And Sean says to Will, thought about what you said to me the other day about my painting. Stayed up half the night thinking about it. Something occurred to me though, and I fell into a deep, peaceful sleep. Haven't thought about you since. Know what occurred to me? You're just a kid. You don't have the faintest idea of what you're talking about. He's like, thank you. He's like, let me ask you some questions. If I asked you about women, you'd probably just give me a list of your personal favorites. You may have even been late a few times. But you've never woken up next to a woman and felt truly happy. If I asked you about war, you'd throw Shakespeare at me. Once more into the breach, dear friends. But you've never been near one. You've never held your best friend in your lap and watched him gasp his last breath looking to you for help. And if I asked you about love, you'd quote me a sonnet. But you've never looked at a woman and been totally vulnerable, known someone who could level you with her eyes, feeling like God put an angel on earth just for you. You wouldn't know what it's like to be her angel, to have that love for her be there forever, through anything, through cancer. You wouldn't know what it's like sleeping, sitting up in a hospital room for 2 months, holding her hand, because the doctors can see in your eyes that the terms visiting hours don't apply to you. You don't know about real loss, because that can only occur when you love something more than you love yourself. And I doubt you've ever dared to love anybody that much. Will didn't say anything. And Sean said to Will, it's now your move, Chief. Are you going to still play around on the surface? It's like, but I want to get to know you. I want to get to know the real you. It's your move. Learning how to love is so painful. Because I've made so many mistakes in my life. And I know it in my gut when I do. Loving, we're all called to be experts in love. Our parents, our brothers, our friends, girlfriend, boyfriend, future spouse. We're called to be masters of love, which is what? To learn how to become a selfless gift for the other person. And I'm telling you this, you're made for it. You're not crazy if you stay up late at night, because I do it sometimes at night when it just hits me, this longing. You're not crazy because you're made for it. That's the core of what it means to be human. You just got to direct it to the one that fills it.